Hello and welcome to the Cooperative Game Chat. My name is Zero.
And I'm the Wiz.
All right, to kick things off, a game recently came out that you've been super hyped for, so let's just go ahead and dive right into it.
Mm.
Wiz, go ahead and tell me about what you've been playing
Okay,
recently.
so yes, people, I do play video games. It's true, and and just to show that I've been playing video games, I'm also a deep hypocrite because I criticize this genre all the time, and I played MLB The Show at 22. Why that is because I am a big fan of baseball, and I love the baseball game MLB The Show 22. MLB The Show. It's a great series. So yes, I've been playing that.
Cool. Has there been any major improvements on this one, or is this kind of the usual sports game cycle of just, hey, there's small iterative improvements, enjoy the game, have fun, thank you for the money.
Um, they've made good improvements on presentation. It looks a lot more like a more expensive telecast for MLB. So with that, they put more effort into that. They have more stat casting in the game where they show different types of stats, like what the velocity speed of a ball getting hit out of the yard is, at what angle, things like that. Um, but in terms of gameplay, very minute, very how do I put this? You'll notice it more if you've been playing the game a lot, like I have. But for someone who may just jump off of it after 6 months of playing, 3 months of playing, there's not much of big differences. For example, certain perks that were overpowered in the game are now tuned down, and a big problem last year was stamina for pitching didn't matter at all. I mean, at all in the game. You can tire a pitcher out till they're in the red and out of energy, and they'll still throw 101 to 102 miles an hour. That's not the case in this version. So there's that as well.
Okay, that definitely sounds like a good change for the better,
Yeah,
especially just with a pitcher just being able to get just throw a ball at full send, even though their stamina is just completely burned out.
right. Um, where most of the differences happened in the game is going to be in their Diamond Dynasty mode. Now, Diamond Dynasty is their ultimate team, their My 2K their games. It's their premium game where they have all the microtransactions in.
Okay.
And I play this game specifically for Diamond Dynasty because I like fantasy baseball, and I like I actually like a lot the willingness to create your own team and go against other people. That I like a lot, especially when you can use legends in the game. Um, One thing I want to start off with the good things that MLB The Show 22 does in Diamond Dynasty mode. All of the free to play games for sports have usually two different types of currency. It's really insidious. Um, for example, I'll use NBA. NBA has their gold VC tokens, which you pay money for, and you have the My Team tokens, which are silver that you don't pay money for. What they do in these games is if you sell a card, let's say you have a duplicate of a card in NBA, okay? If you have a duplicate, they'll sell it to you in the free currency and not the paid currency.
Mm.
So when you do that, you either have to pay more in the VC or more in the free currency to get a certain card or to get a certain pack than you do the paid currency.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. It
okay.
seems like it's very, very similar to how Hearthstone works, because you can buy the boosters with with premium currency and stuff like that. But if you get like a duplicate of a card that you can't naturally put extras, then you can dissolve the card into dust. But
Hmm.
naturally, to make a card out of dust, it's going to take far more dust than it would be if you were to just land on another copy of the card that you need through a booster pack or
Right.
something like that.
No, that's exactly what it is. And it's really insidious too because in order to get other cards for free, you have to use the auction house, and the auction house, not only do you have to, you can only use the My Team tokens to use the auction house. They actually tax you for using the auction house as well. So they
Oh,
take 10% of what you're paying. So let's say I got a really good card, and I got it sold for 50,000 tokens. Okay, 2K takes 10% away from me, from that $50,000 sale, the 50,000 sale, and only gives me 45,000 as a tax.
mm,
So it keeps their, I don't know why they do it, but it keeps their, what do you call it, their market to go, fluctuate a certain way. Why I mention this in the case of MLB is because MLB doesn't do that. MLB has stubs, and stubs you can pay for or you don't have to pay for. You can earn it
okay.
in game. You can earn it through battle passes, as they're colloquially called, or you can pay money for those stubs, and you can buy cards off the market with those stubs, no problem. They still tax you 10%, but in this case, you're not going towards two different routes to get the same thing. It all funnels into one thing. So that's I kind of like that because it doesn't feel like if I sell these cards, I now have to go on a bigger treadmill to get a certain other card. I can just use the same stubs that I'm using to. I can use the same currency that everyone's using, whether they're paying or not. So, to me, that's a good thing. That's a good thing that they do.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like it's a little bit more friendlier to the players
Mm.
than sort of trying to grift for their entire wallet.
Yeah. Um. What's next here? So that's a good thing that I think MLB does as well. The other thing that they do very well is that they have a battle pass. They have multiple battle passes in this game, but all the battle passes are worth it to the grind. So if you put enough time in, let's say there's a main battle pass right now called Faces of the Franchise, where you earn enough XP just by playing games and doing certain missions that you'll earn packs of new cards. You'll earn, like, new players, or you'll earn stubs, or you'll earn uniforms or things like that. Like things they're worth the time that you're putting into it. And then the key thing that you want to aim for are these faces of the franchise, and these are all high ranked cards that you get for free when you reach these levels to boost up your team. So, and that's a good thing too that they have. But they also have mini battle passes for certain modes like events or battle royale, where if you win a certain amount, you also get packs from those things as well, and you get cards, and you get stubs, and you get XP, and all the various accoutrements, and they all add into the main battle pass as well. So whatever you're doing, you're earning XP for that main battle pass, and which most games don't do. Like most games, if you are on one mode in that Diamond Dynasty or in that fantasy mode, they'll section off everything and say, well, you're earning XP for this thing right now, so you're not going to earn XP for this. So you have to literally gauge your time to make sure that you're spending enough time playing all these different modes to get all the different things that you want. Not so in Diamond Dynasty. They do allow you to earn XP for everything you do, including if you're not playing Diamond Dynasty. So if you play like Road to the Show, which is a single-player RPG mode for MLB, you'll earn XP for Diamond Dynasty playing that as well. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So again, something that NBA does not allow you to do. So there's that. My negatives on this, just from playing for the past 4 days. As much as I like the battle passes I've always liked the battle passes, they made one change to it that I don't like. They had a thing called Team Affinities last year where you can earn XP on the Team Affinities and gain cards that isn't time gated. Battle passes in this game are time gated. So, like they're called programs. These programs are time gated. So you have 28 days to get all the cards that you want, or else you lose the chance to get them. They didn't do that with Team Affinity last year, but they combined them all into that main program, where now everything is time gated. I don't like that very much at all, because if I want to take my time and do one and concentrate on one thing and just grind that program to get the bosses, the face of the franchise bosses that I want to get, I would rather concentrate on doing that and just naturally get the Team Affinities. Can't do that anymore. The other problem is single player. I played last year and got all the bosses playing one game of single player every day and playing the other single player modes by myself. And I was able to get all of that without spending money. I thought that was good. You can't do that this year. You can't do it. I've been playing the single player modes mini seasons for the past 4 days, and I barely am at level 5, whereas in last year, playing Play vs. CPU and playing all the conquests and showdowns from last year, I'd probably be a level 8 or 9 at this point. And that sucks, because now it feels like I have to grind more just to get all the free stuff. And if I'm not earning anything while I'm doing that extra grind. So that sucks to me. That's just like, that's a step down. But in comparison to other sports games, it's still the best when it comes to what you're paying for, and if you want to play free, how much you're getting for playing free without no lifing the game.
Oh, that's a bit of a rough change, unfortunately, but
it is pretty rough, but
yeah,
it's still better than other games out there. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I can say, is that it's better than. God, it is so much better than the other sports games, but that's not saying much.
yeah, that's just a shame that the state of sports games is just such a rough landscape right now, especially with the FIFA Ultimate Team's sort of modes just kind of demanding that for those who are extremely hyper competitive, that they've just got to just shell out just tons and tons of cash just to be competitive. And for those who are just playing casually, it might be fun to play casually, but if you've got a friend who is on the hyper competitive spectrum, then it's just nothing but just losing streak after losing streak, because they're going to be able to build the exact dream team that they want.
Yeah, if you want to be competitive in these games, you're essentially blowing a normal person's gaming budget on that game, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if most gamers sit down and actually think about how much money they spend on games, on getting the newest game and everything, I think I I might be wrong, but I think $120 a month for most gamers is probably what they're spending. Like more of the hardcore, more of the ones that are into this type of, what do you call it? On average, they're spending that much money on. Maybe I'm wrong. They're spending that much a month on buying games. Um, in order to be competitive in these games, you're spending, I think, right now, $200 to $300
Oof.
to be in the competitive series, in the competitive part of the game, and that's in the first month. Um, I know on NBA took their My Team game mode and broke it up into seasons, and in order to earn free currency, you actually had to get the newest cards in order to get the new currency, which means in order to get all that free currency, you have to put money into the game in order to get that free currency and earn it, because
Wow.
you can't earn that free currency without having the newest player.
Wow,
So
that's absolutely insidious and scummy.
it is. Oh my god, it is. It's why I bought NBA on sale, thinking, I'll try it out and see how it is. And I saw everything. I'm like, nope, I'm not bothering. Forget it. I bought it on sale, so I'll waste the $30. I mean,
But it just seems like it's the least exploitative of the sports games out there in the current market space, which is good, but also a little bit sad
yeah,
too.
with the Ultimate Team or the fantasy sports thing, yes, you're right. It is the least exploitative of those. That being said, what more is there else to say on this? It just, it is the least exploitative, but there's still plenty of exploitation there,
Yeah.
and you have to literally be an economist, a mini economist, to work the market to be able to play the game for free. So that's another thing. Like, for example, I bought the $100 version of the game because it's also, you can play it the first 4 days free, or you can play 4 days early. And by doing that, I was able to take all the cards. This is so stupid. I took all the cards that weren't diamonds, which are the highest type of cards you can get. Sold
Right.
them all. I sold them all to the marketplace so I can earn more stubs,
Right.
so I can get more diamonds. So I spent the whole time on Friday opening the packs I got, looking at my team, saying, oh, what am I selling? Okay, I'm selling everything gold and below, putting them in the marketplace, getting all the stubs back, and then going back into the marketplace to buy a bunch of diamonds to fill out my roster, so I can finally play it the next day, because I was too tired, because I was playing on the marketplace for about a few hours after it was opened. It's what you got to do to play the game for free.
Wow.
It's like I said, you have to be an economist almost to play it. And the other thing that MLB does, which I like, is the cards aren't fixed. Well, some people don't like this, but the cards aren't fixed. In NBA, once the cards come out, they're a fixed number. That's it. They don't go up. They don't go down. What NBA does is, let's say a certain player's hot, like it is doing really well in the NBA. They'll release another pack that you have to pay for in order to get that hot version of that player.
Oof.
Okay? Not so in MLB. Once you own the card, if that guy starts getting hot, then his ratings go up, and you get to keep that card with his ratings going up.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, that almost seems like kind of the dream scenario of when when NFL 2K back on Dreamcast was potentially debating about the idea of having the player stats update via the internet
Yeah,
each year, so you wouldn't have to continually buy a new version. You might have to buy like a new DLC license or something
yeah,
for all the new stat changes or something. But yeah, that almost seems like the dream scenario right there.
yeah. But here's the rub. Here's the rub. Okay. It goes the other way too. So if you got a diamond, let's say in Diamond Dynasty,
Right.
and you want to earn more stubs, let's say you got a gold in Diamond Dynasty, and you want to earn more stubs. If you're paying attention to Major League Baseball, okay, this is the other thing, and that gold player is doing so well, he's going lights out, and you know it. What you want to do is you want to buy that gold card, copies of it, like buy 10 or
Right.
20 of it. So that when it goes diamond, you go back and put it in the marketplace to get more stubs. It goes the other way too. Because if, let's say, you have a gold card and he's starting to suck, it will drop down to a silver and it'll be worth less stubs. So you wasted money on that card.
Ooh.
So, again, you got to be an economist in order to play the game sometimes.
Wow.
So, like, and that's what you're literally doing in this game. Like, if it pays to be more knowledgeable in the actual real game, which to some I get it, that's cool, but to others, that's just like, you mean to tell me I have to play this other game in order to play the game, in order to enjoy the game? What? So, yeah, like with sports games, in order to be good at them, you have to know life them to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Or you spend $600 to get the whole entire collection and not have to worry about it. So, okay. I mean, I'm pretty much done with this one. So I've said my piece. I like the game. I like MLB. I haven't put any more money into it, and I don't think I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and play it because last year I put a good amount of money into it, and
Okay.
this year I'm gonna definitely try not to do that because last year what ended up happening was I got the whole collection in June, and I got the three best players in the game at that point, and the updates were okay last year with the new players they would give away. So
Okay.
I was happy with it, but then I look back at how much I spent, and I'm like, ugh, that really wasn't worth it. So okay,
Okay. Well, it's actually kind of insightful too because um, my brother-in-law, he's a big sports guy,
hmm
and he loves baseball quite a bit since
okay.
he's from LA and everything. So the Dodgers are his team and everything. So
Dodgers have a good
um,
team this year.
so I may have to gift him a copy of this game for his birthday since his birthday comes sometime in May.
Okay,
So if he hasn't picked it up, I may have to pick up a copy and say,
yeah,
"Hey man, happy birthday!" And I know you're a big sports fan, so here you go.
yeah. No, yeah. The Dodgers have a ridiculous team this year. It's not fair.
Wow.
It's really not fair. They just picked up the World Series champion from this past year, their first baseman, and he is a lights out slugger.
Oh,
He's good. So okay, all right. So we're done with that. Let's move on. I'll bring back the reins. Take back control of my show. God damn it, I'll do that. But good job, Zero. I'm proud of you. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Last week it was officially announced. This was announced, but it was already known beforehand that E3 was going to be officially canceled both digitally and in person. The ESA announced. Um, Again, this is not a surprise. They've canceled the last two. There has been turmoil and questions about how the direction of where E3 is going for the past few years. And it's more and more, it looks like Jeff Keighley is going to just take it over with his Summer Games Fest and go from there. But I have to ask, Zero, how do you feel about that about E3 being canceled?
It's kind of interesting. So,
Mm-hmm.
I know initially back earlier this year, the announcement originally was, "Hey, we're taking E3 digital because just due to logistical concerns, we're just probably just going to do a digital show," which most people are just like, "Okay, well, just um, some people don't. Some people are concerned that this pandemic that we're um, in the year 2022 AD, in the year of our Lord, may not be over. So, no big deal. Whatever. Going digital, not a big surprise. So that was the initial sort of thing, and for me, I was just like, okay, um, big industry show goes digital. What else is new? Every other industry event has been going digital, except if except if it's sometime maybe later on this year. Then at that point, you've got some trade shows and some events going on the premises. One of my favorite gaming events actually announced recently that they're going to be on premise, and that's the Games Done Quick charity, Awesome Games Done Quick. But they announced that they would be on site, but they would be requiring vaccination proof
Mm-hmm.
and also N95 or KN95 masks to be worn while you're wandering the event halls and everything.
Okay.
So that was why for me it was the initial announcement that E3 was going digital. I was like, okay, no big deal. And then where things get weird is there were whispers that um, E3, due to internal turmoils and just concerns of just how the ESA as an organization has been running, um, had come up. So there was kind of hushed rumors that potentially potentially E3 was going to be canceled. So it was just kind of like, okay, this is kind of par for the course.
Uh, can I
Not
put
a
can I push back a little?
yeah.
um, these were less hushed rumors than they were flat out bullhorns coming from the games media saying this is bullshit. You're canceled it about a month ago.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
and I'm amiss to believe the games media most times because they have a bone to pick with the ESA, but yeah, this wasn't a quiet thing. This was they announced they're going digital, and then 2 days later, a bunch of journalists were like, "No, they canceled it. They canceled it. What are you talking about?"
yeah. So, I use the term hushed mostly because just the official statement
Right,
was,
right.
"Hey, it's things are still on track for the show to happen. Um, Nothing to see here and everything." So there was a whole bunch of that going on, and then of course, um, I forget who it was, but there was someone I believe that had gotten an email that had said, "Hey, we're just going to cancel E3 completely. Just there will be no show this year." And then of course, that was when all the gaming news outlets picked up on the story saying, "Hey, proof is this one person's Twitter that has a screen grab of this email. So, oh, you heard it from us. Show is 100% canceled, and with the usual footnote of we've reached out to the ESA to confirm, and we are waiting for the ESA to confirm, and then." Hours later, the ESA finally confirms to all of the games media outlets saying, "Hey, we are officially confirming that E3 is canceled, so it is the end of E3 for this year."
Mm-hmm.
And then when that sort of hit, it was for me, it was just like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Just um, kind of not a big surprise that that it's going this way, especially with when you've got a lot of loud rumors saying that there's there's possibly some mismanagement of the way the ESA is going, um, just the public portion of E3 over the last couple years, and when it had a portion that was open to the public, has just been a massive clusterfuck. Um, when you have situations like uh, games media outlets having trouble during the industry only days
Mm.
to get in and play something for their E3 impressions,
Yeah.
it was looking like a mess as it was. So it was just sort of one of those situations. It was just like, yeah, just either the ESA can clean this up or they can just kind of keep resting on the laurels of, hey, E3's always been the industry organization. E3 is always where the hype is coming from. There's no other place to go for the hype than E3.
Yeah.
And then of course this announcement hits, and then much like your reaction, it was just kind of like I was thinking, wow, Jeff Keighley and his summer game show is really gonna uh, take off like a rocket ship at this point.
Yeah. Um. Really, not much to say about the cancellation other than I kind of felt it was going to happen. Well, we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was pretty much reported that from other journalists and other sites that this is all but going to be canceled. What I don't get, well, I kind of get it from journalists from the games media because they hate E3. They've hated it for the past 10 years, especially when all their information got leaked. that I can kind of sympathize why they hate E3. But they're not thinking it in the way of marketing. E3 is a unique beast that only the gaming industry can do. And let me explain why. What is the biggest night on excuse me. What is the biggest night in any kind of in any business, in these entertainment businesses? It's usually an award show. Like, for example, the Oscars for movies, the Grammys for music, the Emmys for TV. Okay? The biggest night for gaming is a week in June where they advertise to their base, to other gamers, the games that will be coming out in the next 6 months. They're literally being advertising. They're just advertising to a captive audience that wants to be advertised to. That is a wholly unique beast that no other media has. If you turned the Oscars into E3 for a night, it wouldn't work. If you did that for, let's say, TV, it wouldn't work. But for gaming, it works. And it works really well. For journalists and other people saying E3 is dead, good riddance, it was of no use anyway, people will just go to X company for their presentation. You're missing one crucial thing, and it's the fact that people are used to having this block of time, which I'm not ashamed to admit it. I used to take off of work. I used to take a week off of work, that E3 week, just to get the new announcements, just to watch it live.
Oh yeah, me too.
Think about that
I would,
for a second.
yeah, just and I'm the same. When E3 would come by, I'd just be like, all right, well, I'm gonna put in my time off of work because I want to just kind of sit and absorb um, all the new game information that'll be coming out of things coming up in the next few months. So I'm 100% there with you.
Yeah, and you can pontificate as to why it's a bad thing for most companies. I would say maybe for Sony and for EA, they may not need E3, but something like Ubisoft, like maybe smaller or mid-tier studios, maybe I don't know, maybe a Microsoft as well would benefit from having an E3, because if you get the big announcement and you quote unquote win E3, you can use that for 6 months as marketing, and that will lead to good sales.
Yep.
One of the big ones that I remember Scribblenauts?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Scribblenauts, I forgot what E3 it was, but Scribblenauts won E3 awards and got so much press for how wholly unique it was, that it boosted the sales of Scribblenauts when it came out on the DS. Now, the original Scribblenauts was not a good game. It wasn't. It was finicky, it was buggy, and the best thing about it was the title screen, where you can just type anything and watch whatever happened. That was the cool thing about the original Scribblenauts. But it helped its sales. You can't get that by telling people to tune into your 15-minute presentation, because you're not going to get that many people to do it unless you have a strong, significant brand. You're not going to get that. Look at Xbox. They had an ID at Xbox. Is that what it's called? ID. I don't even know what it's called.
ID at Xbox is their indie presentation.
Okay, I don't even know what the hell it is. Where they announced that Tunic is coming to Game Pass. Okay. I didn't know that there was what do you call it? An ID at Xbox presentation. Why? Because if I relied on Twitter to tell me everything that's going on, because I subscribe to Xbox, I subscribe to PlayStation, whatever, it's not a guarantee I'm going to get that notice. And if no one else is talking about it, I'm not going to find out. So, if you're relying on that, if you're relying on buzz to do that, and you're down like you are Xbox right now, it's not going to do you any good. You're not going to capture the gaming audience. But with E3, and you spend the money, and you do a good presentation, and everyone is excited, and you have this captive audience, you can turn your fortunes around. Hell, look at Sony when the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4, okay? And we were at Planet Zombo when this happened, when that E3. What did we say? What did we all say at the end of that E3? PlayStation won the E3. Not only did they win that E3, they won that generation just by what happened at E3 that year. And that's when Xbox bungled it so hard with how they announced the Xbox and how they priced it. And Sony, all Sony had to do was undercut their console by $100 to win. And no one was, and this was also the time when they decided to make PlayStation Plus required for playing online, which would have been unpopular, but no one cared because they won E3 and they did a great presentation and they knocked the socks off of everybody. You can't get that by having your own presentation. You just can't. If the industry decides all of a sudden we don't need E3 anymore, all you're going to do is you're going to centralize the sales to certain companies, which will be EA, Activision, the ones that don't go there anymore, and you're going to stifle creativity again. You're going to stifle hype. You're going to stifle marketing, because that's my thought on it, at least.
Yeah. I know, to your point about the free advertising.
Well, it's not exactly free, but
yeah. But basically just being able to market the shit of, hey, our game won all these prestigious awards at E3. Just especially if it's something that doesn't come out until maybe like the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way. It's a great way to advertise stuff because at that point you can just um, put put that marketing on your trailers and everything, especially if you've got like a really well cut uh, trailer that can be used for like a TV ad or even a YouTube ad, where you just have like this one shot of like your game's title with just all these prestigious E3 awards around it and everything. It's a great way to just kind of sell people to just buy your game and everything because at that
Yeah.
point, and you can just go, yeah, look, we won all these critical awards, just IGN thought our game was best of show. A Eurogamer thought our game was best in show, and so on and so forth. Without E3, it's a little bit unfortunate because at that point, just um, you have to rely on maybe something else coming up
Hmm.
to maybe throw down the hype. I don't know. And I know some people have been jumping up for joy, going, just who cares? We've got Jeff Keighley's Game Fest, which don't get me wrong, just Game Fest. Game Fest has been great, especially with regards to this pandemic sort of um,
Yeah.
throwing a wrench in the works. Especially because one of my favorite things about Game Fest is the fact that I don't have to go to the E3 grounds just to play some of the demos of these games that are coming out during E3 season. Instead,
Yeah.
I can I can log on to say the uh, Steam Summer Games Fest page, and if a developer has decided to make available a demo, then I can download the demo from the comfort of my own home, check it out, and give my impressions on it. Or in this age of video media, where things like YouTube impressions are so popular, a person could just download the game and play it live on stream and go, "Hey, so this is what I think of the game." That's kind of neat to see. But yeah, I'm definitely with you that the loss of it is definitely going to make it that smaller studios may not be able to get a nice spotlight on them,
Hmm.
and it'll just be sort of um, the mainstream droning of just big label companies sort of being able to take over and say, well, we're the biggest game out here anyways, so just you've heard of us, and there's not much escape from all of our marketing and everything. Whereas
Yeah.
a smaller game like your example of Scribblenauts getting a whole bunch of accolades one year and getting a giant spotlight on their game, uh,
Yeah.
it's just not going to be a thing that'll happen this year, more than likely, unless somehow the Summer Games Fest features some sort of award portion of some sort. I don't know.
I think the industry has to just. They're probably not going to do this, but they have to agree to a 7-day window where they're going to make their big announcements. They kind of. It's the smartest thing I think, for them to do on this. Now, I know marketers are going to say, but you're competing all that marketing noise with each other. Some people are going to get drowned out. Yeah, that's going to happen whether you do it or not. Because if you don't have a good game, or if you don't have an exciting game, or you don't have a way to show it, no one's going to watch it anyway. It's if you have something that you're excited for and you think is going to get a good audience, why not do it? I mean, back to Scribblenauts. Scribblenauts was kind of I don't know how cheap it was, but it wasn't a pricey game. It, but it made gangbusters for Warner Brothers. I think it's Warner Brothers who did that game.
Yeah, they were the publisher.
Yeah. So even if you curb your big announcements for, like, let's say, a state of play. Okay, fine. Do it if you want to do it that way. But when you have a captive audience, and you're going to have a captive audience if you tell them from June 6th to June 13th, it's going to be wall-to-wall press conferences or wall-to-wall directs coming from Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Ubisoft, EA. If they all agree for that 1 week, everyone's going to watch your shit because everyone is expecting it, and everyone's already saying, well, I'm going to watch this one, so I might as well watch this one. To me, that makes so much sense. You have an audience that is already anticipating that they're waiting for this one here, so I might as well watch this one here to wait. Maybe there's something good. That's how people are watching the PC Gaming Show, and the PC Gaming Show sucks. Oh my god. The PC Gaming
it's a
Show
bunch
is
of cringe.
awful.
It is a bunch of cringe.
It is so bad. It's painful to watch. But why do I watch it? Game announcements. I put myself through pain to get advertised to. Think about that for a second. I'm not saying to make everything cringe, but that should say something to you, where you have a big amount of gamers who are willing to stop playing games so you can advertise to them. Think about that. And if you're going to give that up because, oh, it's too hard, or oh, I have to compete, or, well, the games journalists say it's dead and it's not necessary. The games journalists don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They have proven that time and time again, that they don't know what they're talking about. Granted, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, they have a right to be pissed at the ESA for what they did a few years ago, but the games journalist is not who you're advertising to. It's the gamers. And gamers are always excited about E3. When they heard that E3 was canceled, there were more people upset than happy. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I just don't... I hope Keighley, if they are serious about jettisoning E3, I hope Keighley just steps up and says, all right, I'll do it. and just go for it. Because he's smart. He gets it. And he also gets the Game Awards. People don't care about the award. They care about new games. So he makes half of it about new games and half of it awards and sprinkles in some horrible performances by bands, which you kind of have to for some strange reason in award shows. But he gets it. Like, make fun of him all you want, but he gets what the audience wants. So
yeah, because I've always just kind of respected the enthusiasm he has. I mean, yeah, just I get it. A lot of people like to make fun of him and go, "Oh yeah, that guy, wasn't he the fucking Doritos Pope?" And it's just like,
I love the Doritos Pope thing, though.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, I mean, people will slam on him for that. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, wasn't that dude the Doritos Pope?" And it's just like, yeah, he was, but just as he wanted an award show, so I mean, just as unfortunately, sometimes you got to do some very, 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 very dirty things to get what you need, especially if you're not in the in crowd. So, just
another thing I like about Keighley, and you just mentioned it, the whole Doritos Pope thing.
Yep.
Not once has he complained, oh, it's triggering, oh, it's harassment, oh, stop making fun of me, oh, it's like he never bitched about it, because it was kind of stupid how he was kind of being made fun of, but he never got triggered by it. He's like, yeah, okay, I'm the Doritos Pope. What the fuck ever. Guess what? I'm making more money than you ever will. Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean he's rolled with it and he's been a good sport about it. So, but yeah, just it's just kind of one of those things that he's not quite he's not quite on the upper echelon of elites and stuff like that. So yeah, he's got to make a couple deals. He's got to negotiate and make things happen.
Well, yeah,
And yeah, an award show is expensive, but just that's just the nature of the beast.
and this is when it was on Spike, right? That he was doing those terrible advertisements.
Yep, I mean
Yeah,
there's still some terrible ones
yeah, yeah.
in the last couple years too, but
Who
um
can forget the Shik Hydra bot?
yeah, that one, oh jeez, it was
I
just
mean,
like oh,
don't knock the hustle, man. I mean, he's doing something that is clearly working, and it's working because people talk about it when it goes on, because people care. So it's working. You got to give him
yeah.
some respect on that. So
Oh yeah.
I think we can move on from this topic unless you have more that you want to offer.
Oh no.
No, okay.
We pretty much talked it to death.
Doritos Pope, and we're out. Okay. Um, Zero, you posted this on our what is it called? Our Discord. Why do I forget it's called Discord? You posted the story on here, and it's an interesting story. One of the most interesting free to play games out there is Pinball FX3, and the reason why is because of how friendly it was to their customers. They had two other Pinball FXs where you would purchase tables right from their thing. But once you purchase those tables, they carried over to Pinball FX2 and Pinball FX3, and they added improvements, quality of life changes, and they earned a lot of respect for people who love Pinball FX. Uh, from your article, that's changing, though, is it?
Oh yes, and it
Okay.
is changing in a huge way.
Okay.
So, um, long story short, um, this past Friday was the early access release of their new version of the game that they're calling Pinball FX. I know, confusing.
Yeah. All right.
So, so what makes this so interesting is, uh, I'm guessing their publisher, Saber Interactive, who owns Zen Studios. I guess they struck up a deal with Epic, so this new version, at least for PC, is going to be Epic exclusive for now. Um, any further details on how long the exclusion lasts? No idea. There's no specifics, but I would say it's probably safe to assume that the exclusivity period is probably going to be for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so that's one big change, especially because of the fact that Pinball FX3, I believe, has been on Steam. So, so that's one thing. The second thing is one of the big ones. So you will not be able to upgrade your previous tables from Pinball FX3 into this new version of Pinball FX.
Yeah.
So they don't care if you spent $150 in total for buying every single table out there. There's no sympathy for you. There's no, hey, just here's a significant discount for you being such a loyal patron to our series. Just that is all out the window. And it is just being tossed out, and they're pretty much telling their entire community player base, well, um, we don't know what to tell you other than go rebuy all the tables, and that even gets further convoluted. So you can't you can't directly buy the tables anymore, and they've also announced that they will no longer be offering bundles of tables. So um, in the past, the game's previous incarnations as Pinball FX2 and then Pinball FX3. Occasionally, you've had packs of tables where you could get them for uh, I'm assuming maybe 20 or $30
Mm-hmm.
for just a handful of tables, and it was nice because you had stuff like um, the Williams license tables. You could get those in a pack and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole idea of packs, apparently that will no longer be a thing. So on top of not being able to buy packs of tables and also buy tables directly for cash, they are now going the mobile phone game route and making you buy a microcurrency called tickets.
Uh,
And just like every mobile game, you can't buy exactly enough tickets to buy a single table. No, you've got packs like um, X amount of tickets for $10, and then uh, the highest tier being, I think, $100 ends up giving you, I believe, maybe like a 10 or 20% bonus in tickets. So you have to buy tickets now just to buy any of the tables.
yeah.
And uh, and then to further confuse things, there is a really, really goofy pricing scale for whichever tables you're planning to buy. So if you're trying to buy a legacy designed original table, original meaning a table designed by Zen Studios, and legacy assuming that it was made during either the Pinball FX2 or Pinball FX3 era,
Right.
that's going to be 40 tickets.
Hmm.
And then for any new original tables that are completely designed for this brand new version of Pinball FX, they will be 55 tickets.
Now, these tickets, you pay for the tickets. I mean, you pay for the tickets, you give the tickets for the table, and you own that table, right? It's not that you do 55 per play.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Woo. For a minute there, I was like, wait a minute. Okay.
So, and then to kind of confound things even further, um, for legacy license tables, and license meaning the Star Wars tables,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lord of the Rings tables, or tables from a real world pinball table manufacturer. Those tables individually each are 45 tickets. And then for any new licensed tables, they will be priced at 60 tickets.
Hmm.
But to add a line um, from Billy Mays, but wait, there's more. So uh, they launched a Indiana Jones table that came out on Friday with this new version of Pinball FX. But that one you cannot buy with tickets. That
Hmm?
one is considered a premium table, and so you can buy that one outright for $15.
Oh, 15
Yeah.
bucks?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was, I might be wrong, but for like $20, you would get 3 tables for a pack on like Pinball FX3. Or was it 15? I'm not sure. But for 15 to $20, you would get 3 tables from like, let's say, Star Wars Pinball or Marvel. That would be 15 bucks for one table?
Yeah, so
Oh.
this one particular table is going to be a whopping $15.
Uh, oh boy. That's mm, that
Oh, and
is not worth it.
yeah, and the worst part, the shit-stained cherry on top of this
Ooh.
is they're also offering a um, Xbox Game Pass like subscription to all the tables, and
Uh-huh.
there there are a few pricing scales. The lowest one being 1 month at a time, being I believe 15 per month, and
What?
then you can get 1 year of access for a whopping $100 for the entire year.
I mean, considering it's $15 a month, you're basically getting 7 months in, 5 months free. But even then, I would just look at that and go, I can't believe I'm doing this. I would look at the amount of money that you're spending on the tickets to get the tables, and just buy the tables. But even then, that's for someone who I've played Pinball FX games. I have most of the tables. I why would I read? And okay, now let me just be fair. Okay, hold on, before I fly off the handle. Are there any improvements to the tables?
Well, before I go into that, the
Okay,
worst part about the subscription is
okay.
um, premium tables are not included, but
What?
they basically have some boilerplate language in the subscription plan that basically says that not all tables will be available. So potentially there could be non-premium level tables that may not make the inclusion. So it could be something like a um, potentially a original table that may have just come out.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, technically Zen Studios could flag that one and say, "Oh yeah, well, yeah, this is a brand new table, but yeah, you don't get to access it because it's brand new." So tough nuts.
Uh, oh boy. Okay.
So to your question about the improvements, if there are any improvements on the tables, when I was sort of researching this and diving into finding out more information on this, um, when I was reading in the Pinball FX 3 subreddit,
Mm-hmm.
some people decided to sort of do the research and just be the sacrificial lamb and buy the equivalent of like $10 in tickets
Thank you
just
for
to
your
buy.
service.
Yeah, no kidding. So they decided to just buy one table that they may have been intimately familiar with, um, and to try to do a comparison uh, between Pinball FX 3 and the new version of Pinball FX to see if there's any marked difference, be it in maybe updated graphics, significantly better physics, or anything like that. And the consensus seems to be that whatever improvements that they've made on the legacy tables is minor at best.
Okay.
So, uh, so the opinion has basically been, well, you're better off just sticking with Pinball FX3. So, if you've got the table on Pinball FX3, don't even bother rebuying it because the physics is not that much better. The graphics aren't that much better. So, it's almost kind of like a lazy cash grab for Zen Studios to make to basically say, oh well, just the whales who have previously bought every single table in Pinball FX3, yeah, they're totally gonna um, drop a bunch of cash on us, and I believe that's what they're hoping for because there's a launch period discount of, I believe, 33%, but that's only on legacy original tables. That doesn't count any of the legacy license tables.
You mentioned that they were just bought by Saber Interactive recently, Zen Studios?
I believe so. I don't know if it was recent, but I believe that is who they're owned by now.
Okay. Because this does sound like, well, it's obviously a cash grab. I mean, that's obvious. Oh, they're found in Budapest. Okay. This sounds like they need money bad. It sounds like either their parent company is saying we need more money from the studio, and so you need to have a free to play game or a way to get more money from your audience, or oh, I didn't know they did Alperencia. Interesting. Um, yeah, they. This is just plain greedy, dude. This is just
Yeah,
this just feels like, oh man, like, all right, how do I put this? Unless there is going to be a plethora of new tables that are coming out and that are come out month after month, like, I mean brand new tables. Like, if this free to play thing is going to free up resources to be able to to be able to bring out new tables with new features. I don't see how a person who a person who's played the other games will find this worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to see the good side in this, and I'm failing to find it because
Yeah, I
it
am too. I'm just like, there doesn't really look like a good way to put it.
I mean, even put it this way, all right. Even if they said, "Look, we can't give the tables back for free, but we will give you a discount rate if you've purchased them in the past," then I could swallow it a little and be like, "Okay, fine." Unless that's the plan. Unless that's the plan of them having this shitty reception and doing these terrible business deals to then turn it around and go, how about half? and do that, then
I think what makes the whole situation funny is, uh, I believe it was either the marketing guy or the PR guy had a video interview with one of the big video game journalism outlets
uh-huh.
about the outrage on this,
Oh,
and
on the outrage specifically.
the outrage and poor feedback on this whole new monetization plan and everything.
Okay.
And uh, if I remember correctly, the commentary about this interview was he pretty much dodged most of the questions. It was the
Of
usual
course.
PR dodging of oh, just things take time and all this other sort of stuff. Basically, sort of dismissing dismissing that it's not a big concern, that people are angry because the way they see it is, um, people are angry because this is new, this is scary to them, so just here we are. And 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 I think what made the whole thing funny was, they get to the question about the lack of bundles and people's concerns of not being able to just completely burn all their currency and empty the ticket wallet and not have any remaining tickets kind of lingering about.
Hmm.
And he makes sort of this half-hearted promise of, oh yeah, just it's not something we can do immediately, but we're doing some research and we're looking to see
Research.
if we can make it possible to potentially offer bundle packs that will give players the ability to zero out their ticket wallets in case if they have no further interest of purchasing purchasing any further tickets.
Okay, so I'm looking at Steam right now with Pinball FX 3. Okay. And I'm seeing Zen Classics, which is the original ones from Pinball FX 1, is $10. This is which one? I think these are 3 pin tables, but there are others as well that are kind of more expensive. The Williams tables are about $9.99. Uh, the Indiana Jones Pinball Adventure for Pinball FX3, uh, which is wait a minute. They're releasing the Indiana Jones table on Pinball FX3 and that pinball thing for $15.
Yep. So you can get the Indiana Jones table both in
Ah,
Pinball FX and Pinball FX 3.
why
But
do this?
but the real shitty part is if you buy the Indiana Jones table in Pinball FX 3, it does not give you an entitlement for the new Pinball FX. So,
Why not
yeah, if
just
you're one of those people who's just like, "Oh, well, I'll get the new Pinball FX later and, just get the table later," then yeah, you gotta shell out again if you're crazy enough to buy the Indiana Jones table for Pinball FX 3.
why not just update Pinball FX3 and make more tables for that? You'll
Yeah.
probably make more money that way. You have a platform already that is popular and that people like. They don't mind spending the money to do it. I don't understand. I just
Yeah, and on sort of doing the math,
Mhm.
with regards to the pricing scale, so 100 tickets is priced at $10. So if you were to try to spend in a way that completely burns out your wallet, that would be one legacy original table and one license, or excuse me, one legacy original table and then one new license table.
Mhm.
So um so let's just call it two tables for $10. And some of these packs of tables, they're anywhere from like three to in some of the larger packs, even like eight tables for just a better value.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just kind of like looking at this going, wow, way to slap your users right in the face and say, oh well, yeah, we're not doing bundles, but yeah, you can spend more to get all the tables that you previously had.
Ah.
Because yeah, like
uh,
the like a great example of like the license tables, you've got the Bethesda pack, which is a table that's themed with Fallout, Doom, and Skyrim. That one's $11 for three licensed tables. So, um, and since they're doing the scale of $60 for a new licensed table, um, even then, just if you were to go to the scale of the legacy license table, it's 45 tickets. So let's call
yeah.
that $4.50. So yeah, just that little Bethesda pack would be far more expensive in this new ticket system. So yeah, what a slap in the face to some of their most loyal players who've been just buying the hell out of these uh, pinball packs.
I God, they have to change this. If they're not going okay. If they're not going to honor previous purchases, or if they for some reason they just can't. And they're on early access, you said, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe it is currently on early access right now.
The problem with the Epic Game Store is that with a lot of games, unless there's a lot of backdoor or back channel ways of doing it, you can't link purchases from, let's say, Xbox or the Windows Store to Epic. They have to be able to coexist. So you can't get you can't even give them the information that lets them know that, oh, you've purchased this before. You have, when it comes back to Steam or comes to Xbox, they have to honor those purchases. I mean, if that's the main thing, if it's because it's on Epic they can't, then they have to when it goes on those other stores. And if you don't, you just burned your goodwill, and your product is pretty much, it's going to leave a sour taste in people's mouth to pay for the same titles and same things again. Even I just, it's sad really, because I like Pinball FX, but I'm not gonna spend $100 on tickets to get the same tables all over again. I'm not doing that. That's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, just I think just seeing how much of an insult it is to their to their most loyal player base, that's just downright despicable. So for our last topic,
Oh, you just went
Wiz,
in
you had
there.
saw something that was real infuriating. Even more so since, uh, with perspective to anyone who's been following the show, uh, at one point, Wiz was a classically trained
Oh,
journalist,
oh, come on.
and
Classically trained. I went to school for it. That doesn't make me classically trained. I just went to school for it. I was dumb enough to pay
so
money to do it.
Yeah. So you saw this on I believe it was Twitter, and
Hmm.
it just got you fuming.
Oh boy.
So go ahead and lead into
Okay.
it.
So I'm on Twitter today, and I wasn't pissed at first. I will preface by saying this: I make no bones saying that the mainstream gaming press is trash. I I will make a couple of exceptions for a few writers, but for the most part, it's trash. It really is. And the older you get and the more you get into this industry, you realize how much of a disservice that the mainstream gaming press is. So with that, I was on Twitter and something on my timeline showed up from Kat Bailey. Kat Bailey is the senior editor at IGN. Um, I'm not saying this to harass her. I'm not saying this for anyone else to harass her. But this is the tweet that she came out with, okay? IGN is now looking for new freelancers to assist with the daily flow of stories in games, entertainment, tech, and science. $20 base rate per story, sliding scale for heavier reporting, DM with an introduction for portfolio for details. Now, some of you may not realize this, but this is really shitty. And there's a reason. And when I first read it, the first thing, I'm going to put the first thing I posted, okay? And it's me being snarky. Say you look for bottom barrel writing without saying you're looking for bottom barrel writing. Because this is what it is. It's, you are basically saying, we'll give you the press release for a company, you write a story on it, we'll give you $20. That's what this is. And
Ooh.
I then closed Twitter and said, okay, I'm done, whatever, fuck it. Then we started talking about it. I started getting pissed. And the reason why is because me and you were both freelancers for a period of time. I got paid as a freelancer for now some defunct sites about $50 to $100 per story. Okay? And these are sites that weren't making much money. They were just getting on the ground and knew that they couldn't convince me to do it for exposure. Which, by the way, if they say exposure, tell them to go fuck themselves. Unless you just like
Yes.
doing it and you're fine, whatever. I'll write shit and whatever. Because you pay shit. What I'm trying to say is this. If you're going to pay shit, you're going to get shit. And that's what my initial thing was with this. Was basically saying, yep, you're pretty much proving to everybody what quality of writing you're looking for when you're only going to pay them $20 for a single story. Now, I have to be fair. Okay? She reiterated on another point. Said $20 for basic news aggregation, which is press releases. $50 for slightly more involved stories. Finding a fun community angle that's not sourced from another outlet, she says. Or social media reactions, which I don't know why that's worth $50, but okay, I'm not going to knock the hustle. Sure. And $300 and up for in-depth multi-source reporting. There is a big problem with just charging $300 for multi-source reporting. Here's why. With multi-source reporting, of course, you have to go through multiple sources. You have to be able to cohesively show a story through multiple points of view and be able to get a scoop. Think of what I'm not a fan of Kotaku, but think of what Kotaku did with Undead Labs this week and the exposing of their terrible work environment, or what the guy from Bloomberg. Shit.
Jason Schreier.
Thank you. What Jason Schreier does on his reporting, that's multi-source reporting. That's what you would pay someone who is a full-time reporter to do. Because what they're doing is they're going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort to do one story. What IGN could do, and from what I've heard has done, is let's say you took 7 days, maybe even 2 weeks, to do a good multi-source story. They can turn around and say, "No, we don't want it," and you've just wasted 7 days on a story. Now you can go ahead and go to other places for it, and they may take it, but that's still 7 days of work that you're not getting paid for. And on top of that, $300 is not a lot of money for that type of effort. Like if you have to work your sources, if you have to call certain places, go to certain places, maybe you have to fly somewhere to get a scoop or to speak to somebody privately, or whatever you have to do. $300 is not enough, especially if you're a good writer. If you are a talented writer, you're looking at this and going, "Fuck you! I am not taking this. I go somewhere else." So much so, in fact. And the IWW Freelance Journalists Union had a lot to say about this, including Ziff Davis, who owns IGN, reported a $1.68 billion in revenue in 2021. Okay?
Yeah.
They're making billions off of shit. Think about that.
Yeah, it just makes them look real tacky and cheap to kind of offer just a bare pittance. I mean, even let's say that this person in IGN's most ideal case scenario, let's say they don't have to travel. Let's say they're doing all their investigative work from home, just cold calling some of their sources, talking to their sources on Discord, on email, Twitter, you name it. And let's say just they spend 8 hours a day for 5 days, so 40-hour work week. And let's just say that during this 40-hour work week, they also managed to get their story done. At $300 for 40 hours of work, that's like $7.50 an hour. And that's before any taxes or any sort of other regulatory stuff that you got to pay for.
Which, in this economy, you have to think about this too. If you're freelancing, you're being taxed more in order to do that. So not only are you getting paid a pittance, you're being taxed more to do so. So that's another thing that, oh my God. I look back to when I was a freelancer. Well, I worked for a penny paper in my hometown. They paid $75 a story. $75 a story from a free paper to no, really. And this is in 2005. $75 for a single story in 2005. IGN, a multi-billion-dollar company, it was owned by a multi-billion-dollar company, is paying $20 in 2022 for freelance journalists who more than likely are living in California, which is one of the most expensive states to live in. And they're doing it for tech, games, and science. What the fuck are they doing in science? Anyway, okay. If you have an interest in science and writing, okay, that's a premium. Okay? Premium and tech writing as well. Because you have to be intimately involved and interested and educated in what you're talking about, which requires more education. That's worth more money. Who is going to pay be paid $20 for a story? Do you know who? High schoolers who are just out of high school and don't know their worth. That is who. Because no person in college, unless they love IGN, and if you are that person, I pity you so much right now. Okay. If you're at a college, okay, or you're in college, let's say you just got out of college right now, had a journalism degree, went to Mizzou, or went to Binghamton, or went to a college that specialized in journalism. You're going to take a look at this rate and go, fuck you. I'd rather go intern for the New York Times and then do that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I
And I wanna even try to put this in perspective for our listeners too. When was that journalism job? I almost want to kind of compare it with like the inflation of the U.S. dollar and
when
just
I
kind
was
of
doing for the free paper,
yeah for
2000,
75 per
2005.
2005.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so yeah, the going rate, the going equivalent rate in this year 2022 would be about almost
Yeah.
$108.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, talk about really going bottom of the barrel saying
Yeah.
$20 an article.
It
Wow.
it not only shows the quality they're looking for, but it also shows the value of their writing staff and what they think of their writers. Think about that, and we all, in an honest thought, we all know that IGN does not value their staff. They don't, because
Ooh.
if they did, they'd get better staff. that's
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
it's cruel to say that. It is it's unfair because a lot of them are young and inexperienced, and I doubt they're getting any. How do I put this? The reason why you get young staff is to mold them to be better writers from being with more qualified staff. Kat Bailey is an okay writer. I will say that. Okay? I just spent a good amount of time shitting on her, but she's a decent writer. But I doubt she's going to be able to help anybody who will accept $20 per story on doing, who will just get. We'll put it this way: you'd have to do 4 of these stories to buy a game.
yeah.
Think about that for a second. To buy a single game, you'd have to do 4 stories.
Oh. Yeah, and I was going to say,
How
with
sad.
regards to your commentary about the low caliber of writers that they're asking for with that kind of pay, it makes it even worse because of the fact that um, IGN has also been embroiled in scandals with some of the writers that they've hired
Mm-hmm.
being plagiarists.
Yes.
One of the big ones was Philip Mewson,
Yes.
who was literally grifting on YouTuber reviews and
Mm-hmm.
just basically a chopping these YouTube reviews word for word and just putting it into text format, and then sort of doing his own little remixed video review, spitting out the same words that he put onto text, and it's just like, yeah, do you want to get caught with more plagiarizing writers? Because this is how you do it. Because someone's gonna say $20 per article. Okay, what's the quickest and laziest way I can do it?
Yep. What more is to say about this? Uh, I just, I'm, God, I know I shit on the mainstream gaming press so much. It can get tiresome. I know you probably get tired of it sometimes. But how can't you when you look at all of this? Like the plagiarism problems they've been having. They get stories wrong at times, and they slyly edit it instead of putting in a retraction. They race grift more often than not. on certain things. I'm the plagiarism thing. I kind of feel bad blaming them for that because that guy was just straight up duplicitous. He
Yeah.
was just straight up like it took him over a year to finally apologize for what he did. That's how duplicitous and morally bankrupt he was. And and the thing I never got from that was he people would say, "Oh, he made a mistake. Wouldn't you want if you made a mistake, wouldn't you want a second chance?" In journalism, no, you can't. You only in journalism you get one chance. And you have
Yep.
to be the best you can be. Because the moment you are kind of found to be a liar, a fraud, a cheat, or a plagiarist, you are not trusted. And
Yeah, you should be blackballed at that
yes,
point.
and when you are not trusted, you are literally worth nothing in journalism. Period. You are worth nothing. So all they're gonna do is they're gonna invite the same type of people. I mean, they're gonna invite another Philip Mewson who is gonna be lazy, copy stories, copy from other people, copy from press releases, things like that. Pay him cheap, and then when the next story comes that they've done bad once again, they're gonna throw that person under the bus, sure, but then they're gonna claim, oh, it's not indicative of IGN as a whole. It's just one bad apple. It's one like you pay for what you get. you,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and if you're paying shit like that, you are going to get shit in return. No one, and the union even says it. Do not go to IGN because if they're going to pay you shit, well, they didn't say this exactly, but I'll say it. If they're going to pay you shit, they're going to expect shit in return. So if you have a slight bit of pride in the work you do not want to go to IGN. And you know what? To most writers out there who are young and who are young and have pride in their work and think that they have a talent in it, I'd avoid IGN and GameSpot. I would start your own blog or do it on YouTube or do something that you can be proud of and you can get the recognition for your work, because that's another thing IGN doesn't do is recognize the writers. And we'll end it at this: if you're a freelancer of worth and you think you have talent and you can go places, avoid IGN. Offering $20 is not worth your time, no matter how good or bad you are. If you're going to deliberately do shit and want $20, then fine, go ahead, because that's what IGN wants. But if you value your worth as a writer, I would not touch them.
Yeah, and I mean, just with that kind of pay, I mean, I'd almost say you're better off trying to work for um, uh, one of the click farms,
Mm-hmm.
like BuzzFeed or something.
Okay, okay. Let's just end this. If like I said, if you are a writer of worth and you value your time and money, avoid IGN. Even if I would say even if they were offering $100 per story, avoid them. But you know, if you want to get paid, you want to get paid. But $20 is not worth your time. I
Yeah,
don't care how desperate you are. You have to. Uh, there
yeah,
are
you'd be better off just working at a grocery store, just making whatever a grocery store's paying these days.
how fucked is
Uh,
that? How fucked,
yeah,
dude. I live in I live in New Jersey. The minimum wage is 15 an hour here. Think about
yep,
that for a second. For 1.5 hours, 1.33 hours work, I'd get the same amount of money than doing an IGN article that could take more time.
yep.
What?
And yeah, and that's I think that would be my pearl of advice. Just don't waste your time with IGN. I mean, if you want to submit click farm material. Just occasionally send stuff into BuzzFeed, and they may pay you the same going rate. They may pay you more, but yeah, just you're better off taking like a grocery store job and working like a 4 to 6 hour shift than you are trying to slave and do a gaming science or a gaming culture related click farm article for IGN.
But you are right. Go to other websites. There are probably lesser known websites that will pay more. There are probably ones that are struggling that will pay you more than IGN. That's the other thing that blows my mind. Like, a struggling website might offer you 50 to 75 depending on your talent, which is not a lot, but it's
definitely more than IGN.
yeah. Oh God, I can't believe how triggered I am by this. Like, this should just make me happy and just cement how I feel and go, I'm right. See? But it just pisses me off. I remember how hard it is to write freelance and to do the work and get paid. I remember that very fondly. And that's so exploitative. Oh. All right. Okay. On that note, before I go on to another rant, I think that will do it for the cooperative game chat. I know Zero probably wants to get to bed and wants to do other things and to listen to me gripe about this, so we'll end it here. For this episode, I am the Wiz.
And I'm Zero.
And we will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.